You're listening to another episode of Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. This is the place where you're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
So, Taylor, another week. How's it going?
It's going. I think I'm on maybe 2 hours of sleep right now.
Well, why are you staying up so late?
Work.
Oh, yeah, you're working on that
Making the big
special
bucks.
project. Yeah, well, okay. Does that mean I get a discount this month? No. Okay, yes, I got it. All right, fine. Anyway, we have Sara Nicole
already get a
Tynan here.
discount.
Oh, yeah, okay, I know. Sara Nicole Tynan is here. We're going to talk about RISE, this mental health seminar coming on October 8th at the Pathways Church. Also, we'll talk a little bit about her as well, because you do yoga, correct?
Mm-hmm. I teach yoga.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little about that, because I don't know anything about that.
I know a lot.
But we're going to talk about, most of the show, we're going to talk about the mental health issues, because that's something that has been neglected a lot, and there's been more focus on it in the last few years. But, for people my generation, my age, it's something that really we just don't talk about very much.
Right.
And about the last 10 or 15 years, it's become more acceptable, I guess, to talk about it more openly. Mm-hmm. But it has amazed me really just how many people really could use some help. And it doesn't mean like massive overhaul. It just means counseling. It means maybe assistance more than anything else. Yeah. But anyway, I'm just getting off the track a bit. But you can tell us all about it and whatnot, and how it got started and how y'all out there in my vast listening audience can help or participate. Mm-hmm. But we'll go through the sponsors first, and then we're going to talk about with Ms. Tynan all about her. Thank you to Daniel at CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. You're doing well, I hope, Daniel. If you're looking to work out, it's a different type of workout than yoga, I'd imagine.
Oh, it's way intense.
Yeah, it's intense, but it's meant for that. But you have trainers, you have supervision, you have programs. It isn't just go in there and start flinging the iron. You've got the whole range of activities there, and it's all in a safe environment. So check out the webpage for membership plans and times and things of that nature. Also, thank you to Shandy Stogsdill, the Stogsdill Group. I'll have her on in about 2 weeks, and she's going to be talking about real estate, which is a big deal, of course, in this area. It's the rates, not the rates, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, I guess the rates do go up, but I'm talking about the real estate values keep going up. So if you're going to move into this area, you need somebody who knows where the homes are before they even become listed. So talk to Shandy if you're moving into this area or know somebody that is. Also, Rex Russell over at the Russell Wealth Group, myfinancialbox.com. Hit the link, get to know him. He's quite the character, and he's an exceptionally good financial advisor. He's been doing it for 6 years, so he knows what he's doing, and he'll help you ride out the storms of the markets and whatnot. Talk about your retirement, your 401k, your 403b, all these letters and numbers. So, Russell Wealth Group, check out myfinancialbox.com. Southern Gym, you been here before?
No, but I have seen some pretty gems from there.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, my wife's going to be working there pretty soon. And you got to get Seth's your husband's name, right?
Yeah. Yes.
You need to drag him up there.
Give me some new bling.
Well, yeah, it's a nice place to do it, but it's not just inventory. They also do repairs. They also do cleanings. They also do design, appraisals, the whole thing. It's a full service jeweler. Gayla Moores, the owner, has several different certifications and all this stuff. And so if you have grandma's ring you want cleaned or repaired, that's the good place to do it. And it's a good atmosphere. She takes care of her customers very well. Also, thank you to HotWorks. This is an infrared workout. Are you familiar with this?
Yes, I love it. I mean, I've never been to HotWorks, but I know all about what they do, and I love all the things they do.
Well, HotWorks is on 731 over by the Kroger, and right next to Chicken Salad Chick. Yeah, so you know that.
I was just there.
I
was there for Chicken Salad Chick, and they were closed.
Really?
Until 10:30.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, you know where you're going to go after this place then, I guess.
Exactly.
Well, but HotWorks has 11 different programs, including yoga, that's done through an infrared system, and it maximizes your workout with not all the stress that can go with it. Mm-hmm. And Michelle Humphrey, the owner, has been on here 2 or 3 times, and she's quite the entrepreneur. Also, Mandy Harden at Creative Concepts by Mandy. Those cups I gave you earlier for you and Ashley, she's the one who made this beautiful hat. And Creative Concepts by Mandy does really good work. It's over on 1187. And so if you're looking for promotional items, if you're looking for promotional items for this RISE program, you could talk to her. I don't know what kind of needs you may have, but if you did, she can help you with all
reach
that.
Out,
yeah. So let's talk about you for a moment first. Sure. Okay. You tell us about your yoga business.
Well, I could talk about yoga all day long. It is one of my biggest passions, but the important part is that it landed into my life accidentally. And I love how God does that, where he weaves things in that you're like least expecting. And it was a game changer for my mental health. I had already been off of medication for some mental struggles for a while, but I wasn't really feeling completely balanced. And yoga, it landed accidentally. I had a miscarriage and I needed to get away from corporate because I had some stress in my job. And so I went to a yoga studio thinking, oh, this is low stress. I'll just work behind the desk. It'll be fine. I'll be able to manage my stress levels. Well, they required you to practice yoga there. I fell in love, and the owner took notice and said, I want you to be a yoga teacher. And I said, okay. And she said, I'll pay for it. So it literally fell into my lap. I felt like when I got up there for the first time to teach yoga, I almost heard a whisper from God say, this is why I made you. It felt like a missing puzzle I had been searching for years. And I love teaching. I could teach every single day of my life with my eyes closed, hands tied behind my back. It's part of me. And I like to create it where it's a safe space, where when you come to one of my classes, you feel like you can let go of anything you've been holding on to. So my first experience with yoga is pretty ironic. I was engaged trying to lose some weight, so we went to hot yoga, and the teacher, who was going off of a script, said, push yourself, go harder, don't break your pose for water. So I'm listening to what he says, and I faint and hit my head and ended up in the ER with a concussion.
That's not good.
It was traumatic. I said, I'm never doing yoga for the rest of my life. It was just so like, you have to do what I say. You must do this. You have to push yourself, go hard, go fast. And then when I found yoga years later, it was so opposite. It was so love yourself enough to go at your own pace. And so that's kind of set the tone for how I teach. So now when I teach, I'm like, hey, if you don't like what I have to say, then ignore me. If you need to take a little nap in here, if you need to feel an emotion, feel it. And so that's kind of how my classes are. And they're secular classes. Every chance I get an opportunity to teach yoga with a theme of Christ, I take it and I love it. I love moving my body and my breath and honoring him and how I do that.
Where is these classes take place?
That's important, huh?
Yes.
So I teach all of my classes right now at C3 Cryo Club, which is off Allsbury and Burleson behind Papa Murphy's, the pizza place. And I've got classes on Tuesdays that are non-heated. And then Fridays and Saturdays, I've got hot classes.
You mean similar to the infrared system?
It is not infrared. It is heated like you would turn on your heater at home. We get up to 90 degrees. So it's a safe space because typically when you go to a hot studio, it's 100 plus. My first experience was 106. That was too hot for me. I could not handle it. I couldn't stand up without feeling like I was going to pass out. So it's a hot environment, but there's still room for you to breathe. Does that make sense?
I suppose.
It's not everybody's cup of tea.
Well, for a 60-year-old man, yoga is still something that's weird and mystical and whatever else, but really it isn't, I suppose. I love
to break down the barriers of that. I get a lot of people, especially in the Christian environment. I've had people come up to me at church. Why are you teaching yoga? What in the world does yoga have to do with faith?
I'm not quite understanding why there'd be a disconnect between the two. Again, I don't know much about yoga, but isn't it just another outreach tool?
For me, it's an exercise tool and a mental health tool. But it does come from India, where they practice Hinduism, and there is a lot of symbolism in the original yoga teachings of some other religion. And so I see why that could be scary and unfamiliar to people. And I like to keep this like nice, clean slate where yoga doesn't have to be anything more than you want it to be. If you want to come in and sweat, yoga's for you. If you want to come in and stretch, yoga's for you. If you want to come in and learn how to take your mind to a quieter place, yoga's for you.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you adopted yoga because of your own mental health struggles. I'm not going to ask you a lot of questions that you're not comfortable with, but I'll let you tell us your own story.
Yeah.
So you said, when did you do this? About a decade ago, roughly, you said?
So when I was 21, I was on a lot of medication, and I said, I don't want to be. I want a different life. I want to remember things. I felt like the medication I was on caused me to have blank spots in my life. It caused me to be like a numb robot. And so, again, 21, I went to my doctors. I had a psychiatrist and a psychologist, and I said, what do I need to do to live a different life? And they gave me some little tangible tools. And so with their work and their permission, I worked with them to get off medication. And I remember the day I left the doctor's office. And she looked at me and she said, okay, you have my permission to no longer take any medication for your mental health. That was 10 years ago. And the yoga thing fell into my lap like 3 years after that, maybe.
Well, see, here's the thing about medication. For people my age, medication is seen as a crutch. Okay, to be frank, they see that you're having these mental health issues and you're not able to handle this. You should tough it out. Like men of my generation, we didn't reach for medication.
You dealt with it like a man.
Yeah, something like that. But I also finally I got to a point where I asked my doctor, so what did people do? What did men do before they had all this medication available to them? So they got drunk and beat the kids. And they were medicating in a different way.
An unhealthy way, possibly.
Yeah, and so there is still, particularly in my generation, this is a good conversation for us to have because we're about 30 years apart.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's your birthday today, right?
31 today.
Yeah, and I'm 60, and so it's a good generational conversation. But in our generation, it was like you dealt with it, and there was a stigma associated with medication and seeing a psychiatrist and taking care of it in those type of ways.
Yes.
Now, I think there's less of a stigma, but there's still some hesitation on my generation's part because, I talk to friends and we all kind of, it's like we're admitting a secret to each other. Well, yeah, take, a generic Prozac type pill or whatever else. And it's not so much we're ashamed, but it's not something that we want to advertise either.
Right.
But y'all's generation seems to be much more open and comfortable talking about it.
And I would say the generation that's even younger than me is almost, I don't want to say proud of it, but so I'm not ashamed. I think God gave me some of the things that I've got so that I can help other people. But I would go as far as to say that the generation that's younger than me, they're almost like, sometimes it's worn like, look at me, I've got this diagnosis. And so I really like coming in and neutralizing it. Whether you've got a diagnosis or you're just struggling, there's something for you. Whether you're proud of it or you're ashamed of it, there is something to bring us to this level of balance where we can be who we want to be.
By the way, you have a message from some gentleman named Seth.
Oh, thanks, babe. I love you.
This would be Mr. Tynan. Yeah. How long y'all been married?
Our anniversary is coming up in November. It's going to be 6 years. And he came at a time when I was getting off of the medication. So you want to talk about a patient person. He is the definition of patient because I was really learning my footing with this whole balance thing. And he's seen some tough stuff. The fact that he stuck around long enough to marry me blows my mind. But he has held my hand through all of it and encouraged me. Like, it's going to be... Hi, baby.
Okay, this would be Sheila.
Stella, my baby girl.
Oh, Stella. I'm not reading it. Stella. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, Stella's my 4-year-old.
Says, hi, Mommy. Why is she not talking to me?
Hi,
she
baby.
is talking to you, Stella.
I love her. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a challenge in my mental healing journey?
Well.
Sassy girl.
Well.
I love her.
They're all sassy, believe me. Well, but again, this seminar is coming up on October 8th. There's going to probably be a lot of guys that would like to go.
It is a men and women's. It's not a women's conference.
Right, not right. And we'll stress the men that would like to go, but they're going to be afraid they'll be recognized there or they'll see a buddy there.
Yep.
And that's not really good. I've come to have a different attitude about a lot of this stuff, particularly all those years of teaching school.
Right.
And not just the students, my colleagues as well, because of the stress issues involved and whatever else. And I've come to adapt a little bit more. I wouldn't say tolerant. That's not the word I want to use.
I know what you mean.
Acceptance. Yeah, acceptance.
Yeah, for sure.
And no non-judgmental.
Yep.
That's the better way to put it.
That's a great word to use in this
just
case.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's a hard life, and so how you achieve some sort of mental and emotional stability, particularly in this method, should be embraced.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up. I did want to say something. I've been talking to some people that are kind of on the planning side of this, and my friends that are involved, and a lot of people are still ashamed or embarrassed. And I want this place, this conference, I want it to feel safe. Just like I said in my yoga classes, I want you to feel what you need to feel. And I want you to know that there's no judgment, especially from me. And I think I can speak on behalf of everyone involved in Rise. No one is going to judge you for showing up and saying, I'm here for tools, or I'm here for tools for a loved one who can't be here because they're struggling so much. So like I was talking about my husband, he's the man that would go to a conference like this on my behalf. So if you're at home and someone you know is struggling in their mental health, do this for them. Go get some hope and peace and tools to bring home to them or to share. It is also virtual.
Well, and probably you'll get some participation that way from people who don't want to be recognized or be pointed out or whatever. Particularly if you have any kind of public profile. If you're a business leader or a political leader in this community, then people would, say, wait a minute, he's at this seminar, she's at this seminar, that kind of thing, and it's going to be maybe uncomfortable, so they can access this remotely.
Yep.
As far as with the content of the show, I was going to do that in the second half of our show here, but the contents of the seminar I meant. But one thing you've already alluded to, if they can't make it or they feel conspicuous, they can access it through YouTube, right?
Yep, it's going to be virtual, YouTube and Facebook as well. And what's going to be on the virtual streaming is the sanctuary sessions, which that's where the main speakers are going to be talking about tools. A couple people are going to be coming and sharing their process of mental healing and what they've gotten, their tools that they've gotten through it. So you'll be able to access that virtually.
Was it because of your past experiences that led you to create this seminar?
100%.
And you have a partner in this.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So, so this idea began in my 4 a.m. time back in January. I couldn't sleep, and God was like, "Hey, I need you to do something with this." And I was like, "Okay, I'm just one person. Like Sara Nicole Yoga is Sara Nicole and basically Seth. It's just us." And I was like, I can't do this alone. And God kept saying, like, keep pushing, don't give up. And then one of my speakers, Lisa Boltinghouse, Center for ASD.
Oh, I have her on Thursday.
Oh my gosh, awesome. Yeah, she's one of our speakers. And she mentioned a group called REACH. It's Reach Across Johnson County. And they do substance abuse prevention and newly mental health. And so they had someone on their team, Nikki, and her and I got together and talked about some stuff, and they decided to partner with me, which it was obviously a God thing. He was like, I told you weren't going to do this alone. And so they've helped me with a lot of the logistics, a lot of the, there's been a lot of financial things that I did not plan for. And so they've done a lot.
Now, how did you connect with Pathways then?
Okay, so I used to attend Pathway. I've got a lot of connections there. One of them, Tish Ross, and I met with her, and I was like, hey, I've got this huge thing I want to do. I don't know where I'm going to do it. And I mean, I think Pathway would be great. They've added this new addition, The Crossing. It's beautiful. It's literally the perfect place for something like this that I wanted to create. And she goes, yeah, no problem. It's yours. I was like, okay.
Well, she has that kind of pull, does she? All right.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember going home. My mom was helping out with the kids, and I got home, and I was like, Mom, it's really happening. This dream that I had, it's actually going to happen. And then when I got with Reach and found out they were going to help out with some of the stuff that I wasn't able to help out, I did the same thing. Mom, it's really happening. Like, I just couldn't believe it. And now it's 2 months away.
So how did you get these speakers?
Originally, this was going to be a vendor event. It was going to be a mental health vendor fair. And I was just going to have the people that have helped me with my mental health, the little tools that I've learned. And then I'm trying to remember how the speaker concept came about. I wrote a book. I was looking at being a speaker. Turns out it's not my time to speak. I just want to facilitate. So I actually had an excess of speakers at one point. We had so many people in the community that wanted to be involved. And I was like, well, you've got a story to tell, so tell it. And it really was just an accumulation of little moments that God put in play. So it's a variety. We've got a variety of speakers come in.
Oh, there'll still be vendors there?
Yes, it is. That's another piece of the pie. We've got the sanctuary sessions. We've got the breakout sessions. And then in between all of that, we're going to have all these different vendors with resources, with like physical tools, little things that you can use for your mental healing, and then like written stuff. So every person that attends the conference gets a resource sheet, and I'm so excited about that. People who are like, I really need to be in therapy, but I have no idea who to call. Now you do.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm so excited about that.
Really, I can't tell you if you're excited or not. I mean, you need to, get more pep. Seth must be exhausted.
He is. Yeah, I'm a lot.
About 7 o'clock or so. Yeah. But so you get this. What I'm envisioning in my head, you tell me if I'm wrong, is you go to this thing, it's 9 to 3, right? And you're going to have, like you say, have speakers one up, but there are going to be like tables and all this other stuff. And if you want to connect with either a counselor or somebody with therapeutic aid books or whatever. It's all there for you.
Exactly.
And you could. Are there going to be any like professional doctors or
Yeah,
psychiatrists?
so two of our
psychologists?
speakers are, I always get the psychologist and psychiatrist. One does medication and diagnosis, one does more of the therapy. And I think we have both coming. I know we've got a Dr. Collier, and she does some stuff with teenage mental health. And we've got a variety of types of therapies. Therapists speaking, we're going to have vendors that offer a variety of therapies. But that resource sheet has like everything you can imagine, every therapy that could come in handy.
So it isn't really just one type, like anxiety
This
or
is like
depression.
huge, all-encompassing. Yep.
Wow. That sounds like a lot of work.
I'm not stressed at all.
No. Well, you seem to be pretty confident it's going to turn out. I guess you feel God's peace in this.
That would be faith, yes.
Yeah, and you surrounded yourself with like-minded people. And
That's helpful.
Yes, it is, about the positive attitude. In a couple of minutes after we go after the second round of commercials, I want to ask about, how this is being funded and how, the mechanics of it as well.
Yep.
And we can talk some more about the services. But one thing I would like to know is that for the attendees, that's the better word, attendees, there's no fee involved, is there?
It's free.
Yeah, right. You just show up, right? Now, if you want to buy something
You have
from
to
the vendor,
register. You do have to register.
and we'll make sure we go over that before we leave.
Yeah.
And like we discussed before the show, you will be back on the show late September, roughly.
Closer to the day.
Yes, and so, but you don't have to pay to attend this thing. But the vendors, they're going to be charging for their books or their other.
If they
their
have a
CDs,
tangible
whatever.
item, something to purchase,
Right.
you for sure can purchase.
Will you have counselors there, like giving out cards for their
Yep,
services?
absolutely.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
We got it all.
that sounds like a pretty good deal, because if I were trying to create a client list, so to speak, for my counseling services,
Yeah.
that'd be the place to be.
Exactly.
And that'd be a good hunting ground, you might say.
Right.
But as far as though the requirements of the attendees, just show up.
Just
There's
sign
no,
up.
There's
if
no
you can.
homework. There's no book to complete. No homework assignments. No nothing.
One of my biggest goals was to make it simple and accessible, so that anyone can show up, no matter what your financial situation is or your religious situation. Like, I don't care. I want you to come and get peace and hope and tools.
That's a good point. I mean, you're obviously a strong woman of faith, and this is a faith-based aspect, and it's held in a church, but that should not.
It is a secular conference.
Right. It's not really designed. This isn't like a conference for a church.
Right.
This is
It's
medical
a secular
science.
thing, yeah.
Medical science. It's psychology, not spiritual stuff.
Right.
If you had spiritual needs.
We will have, actually, at the conference, we will have, like, a couple speakers may mention Jesus because that's in their personal testimony. At the end, we actually are closing the conference with worship, and that is optional. That's, honestly, it's because it's been a tool for me. My mental health comes to a place of peace when I'm worshiping, so I wanted to have that as an extra tool. And so that's how we're kind of closing out the day. If you want to leave at 2:30, go on, no judgment.
Yes, and see, a lot of people think, well, if I go there, and am I going to be hammered with the gospel?
Not at all.
Again, it is a faith-based operation, but it's not designed for evangelism as such. It's to help with the mental aspect. Now, spiritual issues are different. That's why we have spiritual counseling here in town. Like Promises does that. I've used their services before.
Yeah.
But they have licensed counselors as well.
Yep.
I hope they show up for this thing.
I think they're on our resource sheet.
Hope
I cannot. We've got a ton of vendors, you guys. I can't keep up with all of them.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Well, no, but Promises on Renfro is part of the church I go to, First Baptist. But the counseling they give is based on psychological needs. Now, if you want to pray, if you want to talk about spiritual things, obviously they're there for that too. But if you want to spend your time talking about your depression, they have licensed by the state counselors. And, there's a couple of them in particular. They're excellent. And they deal with the psychology of the situation. And that's what y'all are looking at, it sounds like. I guess I'm just hitting that point home because I don't want anybody listening to say, well, it's just going to be, a lot of hand raising and singing. No, it's nothing. No, that's.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, because I'm not. I mean, Reach is a secular organization. Rise, which is actually my ministry that I've kind of created this year, it's really like a secular thing. And you just have to know, just like the students that come to my class, I'm teaching secular yoga. Rise is a secular ministry. You just have to know that the person behind all of that planning has Jesus in her heart. And if that's all you want to know, then leave it at that. If you want to know more, ask me. Same with the conference. It's secular. You may feel a little bit of Jesus the day of, but I'm not trying to shove him down your throat.
Well, that's not a bad thing. But I'm just saying, a lot of people just, I don't know, they have red flags when they see it. They think it's related to a church that they're going to be drug in and
Pathway's not even like affiliated with Rise. They are literally just our holding space. They're our venue. So I know people that have what's actually called religious trauma, whether you believe it's real or not.
Oh,
it
it's
has
real.
happened.
Oh, it's absolutely
People
real.
have that. And I want this to feel like a safe space for you. If you have any religious trauma in your life, you are still welcome here. And you will be met with open hands with no judgment.
Well, that's a good way to start into the next round of commercials, and we'll talk about how you put this together. So, everybody knows Otto at our place. It's where we first met, you and I.
Oh my gosh,
Ashley.
that pie.
Yeah.
Oh, I dream about that pie.
Yeah, well, then you have to go work it off with yoga, I guess.
for sure.
Yeah, but
balance.
Otto is very supportive of this. We talked about you coming on the show, and he was like very excited to hear about this. He's a good man. He does a lot of community stuff, and the food, of course, is great. And I'll be seeing you Thursday, I believe. I have a bi-weekly breakfast with some of the men in my Sunday school class, and you know, the food is great, and the service is great, and what I like also about it is the consistency of the staff. I mean, you get to know them actually. Also, Wild Cigar. Is that the cigar smoker?
No. Oh my gosh, he has a severe allergy.
Hey, you're not helping my ad here.
But he supports the cause.
Right.
Wild Cigar.
It's a great place, all right? Thanks a lot.
There for the culture.
There for the culture, yes.
That's funny.
Anyway, Wild Cigar is a really nice place. It's in the Standard, right next to Doughboy Donuts and all that. You know, so it's got an open bar, and it's got to bring your wallet for that too. But anyway, it's got an extensive bar is a better way of putting it, and also a humidor. So if you have a friend that likes cigars, take
Dad?
them there. Yeah, your dad.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, well, they can get a gift certificate for him maybe for his birthday or Christmas. Chris really runs a good joint over there. It's well lit. It's quiet. You can do business there. It's a good place. Also, thank you to Local Life, Tiffany Griffin at Local Life. She's getting married at Pathways in about 2 weeks. Do you know Tiffany Griffin?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. She's pretty busy. Normally I have her on at least once a month to talk about her magazine, but between her daughter going off to college and her getting married and putting out that magazine, we're just going to do it in September. Yeah. But it's out there already. Several places have extra copies. I know our place has a space for it, and a couple other businesses I've been in, I see them on the coffee table or on their counter. So, and then it goes to 30,000 homes, and you have locallifetx.com. So, you may want to talk to her.
Yeah, we got to get it on the calendar.
Yeah, get it on the calendar. She'll be glad to do it. She likes doing those things.
She's done that for me before for free events I've offered. So, yeah.
Well, there you
Love
go.
it.
Well, she's a good community citizen.
Yeah.
Taylor, do you have the Rise one that we had before? And there it is.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the, I guess, the logo here. Yeah. And October 8th from 9 to 3. As far as you putting this all together, how is it being funded? I know this
Reach has done a lot of the funding.
Really?
They get grants, and those grants are very specific. So we've used those in very specific ways. We we are going to have some food trucks, and my dad at Castrol Premium Lube Express is sponsoring.
What was it again? I'm sorry.
Castrol, it's a mouthful, huh?
Well, I'm just saying, go ahead and promote your dad's
Oil
business.
Change Shop.
Okay.
But is
that the one in Wilshire?
Yeah. Well, wait, no, John Jones. It's John Jones.
Okay.
Next to neighborhood Walmart. But
I know that one. Yes, of course.
I'm just excited because I told my parents, I said, I really want acai bowls. I don't know if you guys know what they are, but it's like it's basically like a smoothie in a bowl, and it can be a meal or it can be a snack. And I wanted that because it's healthy and it makes you feel really good. And it's tasty. It tastes like a little treat. Anyway, Castrol. Thanks, Daddy. Paying for that food truck. I'm so excited.
Oh my. Yeah. Well, go get your oil change today, guys. Yeah. You know, over at Castrol. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry for the plug.
No, that's fine. That's what this show's about.
Dad supports me. I gotta support.
Yeah, this is a neighborhood show. That's why we call it the neighborhood. I talk about businesses that every now and then that may not be full-time sponsors, but
community's got to keep going.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it's all about. So, so there will be food provided. It's not going to be
Yes.
like Pathways or anybody else. It's going to be these vendors.
We're going to have food trucks. I forget what our other food truck. I think they've got like a variety of food. It's not just acai bowls. So yeah, there will be a lunch break, and during that break, you can see all of our vendors, whether that's for shopping or for resources or a good combination.
And then since it's Pathway, you can walk on down to maybe Chicken Express or
Yep,
something.
they're right there.
Yeah, right there. Or go down to the gas station, get you a hot dog.
Yeah, do what you got to do
And
to
a
get
good-
fed.
Yeah, and so they don't have to worry about bringing a lunch or anything like that.
No.
So now as far as the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
what is going to be your maximum capacity?
So the sanctuary will hold 350 people, and that is my goal. I want 350 butts and seats.
Butts and seats.
At 9 o'clock. And the breakout sessions are going to hold 25 people.
When you talk about breakout sessions,
Yeah.
what are we talking about here?
Okay, so there's 4 of them. We've got Dr. Collier. I forget her, the name of her session, but it's going to be, I believe, with teenage mental health. And we can definitely do more specific details in September. I've got a self-love coach teaching you how to love yourself, forgive yourself. That's going to be really cool.
That's hard to do, isn't it?
Yes, especially in these days where we're all struggling. Laura Miller, who does Enneagram.
Oh, is she the English teacher?
She is, and
She's a former student of mine.
I know, and she was
Yeah.
going to come today if she didn't have so much going on. She said, "I love Mr. Allard." So
Laura Lingle is her
Yes.
unmarried name, her maiden name.
Well, and she's married to
Right.
Joshua Miller,
Yeah.
who is doing our worship.
Is that
He's
there you go.
the worship leader at my church, Lifegate.
Laura Lingle is a name I remember very, very fondly.
She remembers you.
And
That's
now
too
that
funny.
Laura Miller, I
Yeah.
see when I see them, I remember them by their maiden names.
Right, of course.
And they don't seem to be offended by that.
No.
But she is a beloved teacher at Centennial.
Yep.
My wife still works at Centennial. And,
Yeah.
And
That's right.
She knows all the teachers, and she knows that Laura is like a real special teacher to the kids.
Right.
And it surprises me not at all.
Right. So how
yeah.
great would it be to be an adult to learn from her about how to learn more about yourself and what your Enneagram is and how it can serve your mental healing journey. So she's going to be one of our breakout sessions. And then we've got Diana Gibson with Creative Clarity Art Therapy. That's a mouthful too. It's art therapy.
Art therapy.
Yeah. So talking about the masks that we wear and maybe making a mask.
It's interesting, art therapy. A lot of things, tangible, physical, actually are very good for your mental health.
Exactly.
You
The
know,
tools, as I call them.
The tools. Well, I know a lot of people, they work out. I'm sure you get
Yoga is one of my
yoga,
mental healing tools.
Right.
For sure.
Or they'll go to CrossFit
Yep.
or they'll go to Michelle's group or at HotWorks because they, not just so much for the physical aspect, but for the mental
Yep.
aspect of it, the stress release.
And that's why I include meditation in all of my classes. I create like this nice safe space where it's not woo-woo. We just kind of get some peace in the mind and peace in the heart.
Oh, so we're not getting anything weird. You're just calming yourself down a bit.
What do you classify as weird?
Well, sit down,
Nope,
with
I
your
don't do any of the
fingers.
ohms. I don't, but I do. I play my sound bowls, which is it's not anything scary. It's just a tool to calm the cells in your body. It sends a vibration into the body that just makes you relax a little bit deeper.
Well, Megan,
Laura, yeah.
you know Megan Hollowell, Swearingen.
She loves Laura. I love that.
Well, I keep calling her Megan Hollowell because that's what I know.
That's
She's
maiden name, yeah.
Yeah, but Swearingen's her married name, and she's on the show quite often for Next Step Women's Center.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, and she'll be on
Megan.
mid-September-ish. We're planning on that. She's been on several times, and Next Step is one of my favorite outfits. They do great work, and she and Laura have been friends since high school. I remember them running around together when they were juniors and seniors in
I
high
love
school.
the connections.
Yeah.
I love it.
And so it's really kind of sweet to see
Yeah.
high school friends stay close like that over the years.
Yeah.
But she
cool.
says, "I love Laura." Yes, of course. We both have grown so much by studying Enneagram.
Yep. Enneagram's
Well,
a
why
real
don't you?
cool
Well,
tool.
okay. Well, tell them what exactly that is, because
I honestly, I'm going to butcher it if I say it. I know that it is a way of learning about yourself, to learn how, like, your personality and how you can be a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for?
self-aware.
Self-aware,
You
so
are
that when you're with
10,000% a
others.
7.
I'm what?
You're a 7.
Thank you. I see.
Enneagram.
You know me, and you know Enneagram. So
Do you know Taylor? You know this stuff?
Oh, I'm 100% a
It's-
7 also.
Oh, is that good?
I mean, it's just your
it's
personality.
yeah, I was gonna say it's up to you decide if it's good or bad.
Well, what am I
It's not
then?
good or bad. It's neutral.
What would
I
you
don't
get?
know. You got to take a test.
Oh,
You
okay.
got to
I
come to the
don't mind.
conference and come to Laura's
okay.
Yeah.
Enneagram session.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're gonna be able to
Sorry
sign up
for
for
interrupting.
breakout sessions.
Well, Taylor, you taking
closer.
this Enneagram business?
It's
I
pretty
mean,
popular.
I've taken an Enneagram test before.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a 7.
What does it do? You ask you
It's
questions.
like a personality test,
Yeah.
right?
Personality test.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of people find out about themselves.
Which can help you heal mentally. Like, oh my gosh, I had no idea because I'm a 7, I analyze things this way. So going forward, I can give myself some more grace and go, you know what? I'm a 7. It's okay. Am I right? Am I close?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Megan is answering here. It's a personality typing system. There's also some study of motivations.
Oh, perfect.
7s are, come on.
Oh, yeah.
The most fun.
Most
Look
fun.
at us
Okay,
here.
I'm trying to read this off the screen. Are the most fun.
But
I'm
she's a 3. Okay.
Oh.
Extroverted, optimistic, versatile, and spontaneous.
Yeah, okay.
That's a 7?
I
Or
I
a 3?
pulled it up on my phone.
Yeah.
No, a
that's right.
3. Well, if Megan's a 3, it's probably, dedicated, hardworking, sweethearted. That's what I would say.
Sweet Megan.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so you got all this going on.
Yep.
And so there's a lot to choose from. Are these breakout sessions, are they going to go more than once so you can go to more
We're
than
going to
one?
have one, and they're going to start, I think the first sanctuary session starts about 9:30 after I do a little bit of introduction stuff. And then we'll have those breakout sessions start shortly after that. And you'll be able to pick. And it's like I said, there's only 25 seats. But what I'm wondering is if my speakers, like Laura and Dr. Collier and my self-love coach and my art therapist, if they were willing to film themselves during their breakout sessions and put that on their business Facebook page,
Well,
then it would be a virtual option. So I'm going to leave that up to my speakers.
how many speakers do you have?
So during our sanctuary time, that's the the main stage. Even though I
Yeah.
don't like titling it as a main, because I think the breakout sessions are just as important.
Right.
But in the sanctuary, we've got Rachel, we've got Dr. Collier, I've got my pastor Chad coming to talk. I've got
Is Chad Megan's husband? Her husband's named Chad.
Chad Benson, who pastors Lifegate.
Okay.
So I've got him coming, and then we've got Lisa Boltinghouse doing one, and then Dr. Tina Bernard, who wrote a book this year. I lost count. Quite
Wow.
a bit, huh?
Well, how did you get a hold of these people? Just call on the phone?
Most
say?
of them were connections. Rachel, Dr. Rachel, and Dr. Collier were brought on by Reach. They've done a lot of this, and they were like, hey, we've got these 2 doctors that I think would make a great addition. I said, well, bring them on. So, but Chad, my pastor, he's spoken about mental health a lot since COVID, which I haven't talked about this yet. I'd love to be able to talk about this. This dream of Rise started in my head when I was thinking about, man, COVID sucked. It took away so much from so many people.
It did a lot of havoc with
did.
personality issues.
A lot of people are struggling
Mental
because
issues,
of
yeah.
COVID. But here's the other piece of it. A lot of people now have something in common. So with COVID, you got disagreements on masks, on vaccinations, and I am not discussing my opinion today. But what I am saying is because of all these disagreements, we now have something in common. COVID sucked. COVID brought on a mental wrath. And now we have something we can agree on. And so Rise was kind of stirred up because I was like, everyone's struggling. I don't care if you've got a diagnosis or not.
There's a lot of other things going on. Just that COVID's a major piece of it, but
Yes.
there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. Today that
Yep.
got people stressed out. You
Yep.
know, we got wars
Yep.
overseas. We got a lot of political upheaval here. We got economic uncertainties.
Yep.
You know, on and on and on. As an older person, I remember times like this before. But for a lot of people like your
This is
age,
new. This is so new and
new to
scary for
y'all,
me.
This to me reminds me a lot of the late 70s, early 80s. So people my age have been through this before. But y'all's
Mm-hmm.
generation and younger, this is all brand new, and y'all can't seem to remember a time when the country wasn't in
Right.
turmoil.
It's scary, and I want people to feel some sort of peace and hope about their future.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in the ripple effect, and that's kind of part of our logo. So the logo, the rainbow,
Mm-hmm.
it comes from a little bit of my personal testimony, but it's a very intentional type of rainbow. And it's not symmetrical because it's not perfect.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Because mental health is not. It creates us where we feel imperfect, but it looks like a ripple. So, you drop a petal into the pond and it goes out. Well, I think COVID did that. COVID caused this ripple. Some of it was good. Some of it was not so good.
I can't think of much good coming out of COVID.
I got to say, I'm one of the ones who was thriving in the lockdown.
Well, I guess so.
So, but for others, it did cause this stuff where you're like, oh my gosh, mentally, I just don't feel like I'm going to make it.
Well, and people that are still in the education business, so my colleagues still teaching school, they say that it just did tremendous damage to the educational process, not just for the sequence of learning and that kind of thing, but just for the mental aspect of it, a lot of the kids came back and they just, it's like all that training of being a student went right
What
out
do we
the
do
window.
now? How do we do anything now?
The attendance is poor. The
Yes.
homework turn-in rate is exceptionally poor, things
Right.
like that. And I think a lot of that is COVID related.
Yes.
And I've been reading a lot about the educational impact it's had. You know, a lot of our kids are a couple of years behind.
Yep. Our children are really suffering. And because of that, it's rippled into parents. And so a lot of my hope for the conference is for these parents to come and go, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can parent and feel like I'm not going to lose my head.
Well, you mentioned one of your speakers will be dealing with teenage issues.
Yes. Yes.
Are teenagers allowed to come to the
Absolutely they are.
Okay, so there's no, like if they're 15 or 16, no age limit?
Age limit, not at all. When I kind of like organized the speakers and when I heard like, Chad said he's going to speak about confidence and Lisa's going to talk about bravery and Tina's going to talk about saying yes to things. It made me feel like these were a lot of the things that I struggled with and that I needed help with. And so my ideal audience member would be someone close to my age, a little bit older, maybe parents. But it's not like if you're not a parent, it's not that you're not welcome. It's just that that's who I thought of when I started creating this, was someone who's like me, who needs help.
How are you getting the word out besides being on here?
Okay. We do have some flyers that are going to look exactly like this. If you've got a business and you've got space for a flyer and you think, man, I would love to help people get some more tools for their mental health, let me know and I'll bring a flyer to you. I'd love it if, Local Life or Burleson Now could mention it in their calendars. It's really a lot of word of mouth.
Tiffany will get it in the calendar. She's really good about that. And I know she supports this.
Yep.
I told a couple of sponsors about you coming on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And they were like, this is one of the sponsors of the show. They put it with me yelling and hollering about Joe Biden, but they like these better, so, but they were pretty enthusiastic about it.
It's needed, I believe. And I believe, I've been saying this for a while, the cause neutralizes any drama. So any opinion that you've got about anything that maybe you don't agree with one of my speakers or my vendors or sponsors or whatever, the cause neutralizes the drama and the opinions.
Well, and if you don't agree with everything that falls out of their mouth, that's fine.
Take what you need.
Yeah, right.
Just like when I teach a yoga class. If you don't like a pose that I call, skip it. I'm not going to be mad.
How does one sign up for this? Because you just don't want people to just show up. You want
right. We need to know how many people, which again, the goal is 350. So if you register, there will be a seat for you. And I've posted it on our social media, which if you guys are on social media, Rise, the mental health conference, we've got a Facebook page. My website is saranicoleyogatx.com. All of the information is on there. The registration and all that is there. It's on my personal Facebook. It's on my business Facebook, Sara Nicole Yoga. It's on my Instagram. It's literally anywhere you see me, you can find a link.
So there is an on-site, a website for this.
Yes, it's on my website.
Right.
But the link is on there to sign up.
One more time for the website.
Sara Nicole Yoga, Sara Nicole Yoga TX, like Texas. Because there's another Sara Nicole Yoga out there. So
no.
Sara Nicole, imagine that.
Well, all right.
Spelled the same way.
All right, whoops.
Okay. Yep, Sara, Sara, Nicole.
Taylor's trying to find it right now. He's so good at this.
There I am.
There
Look
it
at
is.
that.
Okay.
That's me.
Oh, can you
And
put
then
that
you
on
see
our
that
screen?
the page that says Rise. That's our.
There you go. Take it,
our
Taylor.
conference
See, this is why he's the professional that he is.
He's so good.
He is.
So those are my classes, and then there's our flyer. There's all the information. I have a page on my website called Rise where I post all of my ministry stuff. And the link is on that page. So saranicoleyogatx.com.
Taylor, can you put that in the comments so people who watch this show could? He's already done it. He's so far ahead of me.
He's awesome.
Well, he makes fun of me sometimes because I'm like, "How do you turn it on?" And he just whipping through that stuff. But anyway,
Thank you.
There it is. So if y'all
on
are
the Rise
looking.
page.
If you're looking for how to sign up, there it is.
There you go.
And you could, I'll be sharing this with
Thank you
3 or 4
so much.
pages.
I really think that this matters, and I think
It
that
does.
the cause is very important.
It's a considerably.
It's not about
important
anything
thing.
other than bringing some hope, spreading some peace, and equipping people with these tools to heal.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much for what you're doing because I know it's important. As a school teacher, as I got more experience, I saw more and more behaviors
Yep.
that were concerning, and they weren't just because they were, difficult kids, but they were
Right.
needed help.
Right. That's what happened to me. I was in school. I was middle school. I was being bullied and
Yeah.
took a toll on my mental health. I was hurting myself, and mom and dad saw, and they said, all right, let's get Sarah some help. Let's get her
Yeah.
some tools.
Well, and you're fortunate you had parents that do that, because a lot of my students didn't have that. They
I know.
had either single parent, or maybe they were living with, an extended relation.
Yeah.
And they just suffered. And there's just very little as a teacher I could do about it, because I'm
Right.
not a professional in this area. So I'm glad you're doing this.
Well, and it would be great if teachers came to this event and they got their resource packet and they go, okay, I'm ready. Now I've got little Bobby in school and he's struggling. I can very simply say to him, hey, if your mom can't reach out, I will, and get them set up with a therapist or whatever.
I have to say, though, a teacher that would do that without the parents' permission.
Yeah. You're walking some fine lines, huh? Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so I mean, I could go to a counselor and say, I've noticed or observed these behaviors,
Right.
and then they would take it from there.
Right.
Contact the parents or whatever else. But as far as me saying, well, if you need help, here's a card to a counselor, I could be
That's
put myself
true, yeah.
in difficult situations. So teachers have a limited ability to handle this.
Right. They can see, though.
They could
this
see it.
child needs to feel
yeah.
seen.
Yeah, and you could say, well, I wonder if he's suffering from this or that, but I'm
Right.
not a professional. Say,
No.
that's why again I would go to the counselor and say, this is what I've noticed.
Right.
And they had the counselors may bring that person in, a kid in, and maybe with the parent optimally,
Right.
and they'll say, here's all these services that
Exactly.
are offered through the county and things like that. But as far as the teachers intervening and taking an
Yeah,
active
there's
role,
limits for sure. When teachers aren't meant to be counselors or doctors.
we're informal counselors and we're informal doctors in a way, but we don't have the ability to diagnose nor prescribe treatment.
Right.
And but we do observe.
Right. Oh, and I'd like to say that about myself. Like I started this ministry, Rise, with only the intention of bringing some hope and peace and equipping with tools. I'm not trying to diagnose or prescribe or tell anyone like I can help you with your problems. Last year I wrote my book about my mental health journey. And I had people coming to me going, "Oh my gosh, I want to hurt myself like you did. What do I do?" I was like, "Go to a therapist. I'm not one." So just a little word of caution. Not trying to do any of that.
Yeah, but as a school teacher is different. For you, as a friend, an acquaintance came to you, you could say that absolutely. But at the position that teachers are in, there is that fine line. Betty Arbor, who's a loyal listener, one of my good listeners, faithful listener, great cause.
Thank you, Betty.
And wishing the program. I'm trying to read this off the screen again.
Success.
Yeah, it's going
Appreciate
all success.
that.
Do you know Betty?
I don't.
Well, I
don't think
know
so.
her through this platform, through this forum.
Yeah, thanks,
and she's a
Betty.
very, very civic-minded, supportive person. Like Sherry Step Sky was on here earlier, and she does the blessing boxes.
I love that.
Yeah, so I have some pretty solid citizens that are listening to this program, and
Ripple
I
that
appreciate
piece
that.
out. Spread it around.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to run through the ads real
Yeah.
quick and then give you the last word and tell us everything we need to know.
Okay.
All right. Thank you to Daniel across at Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. Hope you're doing well. Thank you to Shandy. Hope you recovered. She still it took her a week to get over jet lag. She was in the
gosh.
United Kingdom for about 10 days, and so it was a great trip for her and her two oldest kids. Shandy, hope you're doing well. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you to Rex over in Cleburne. Hit the link, myfinancialbox.com, and have some coffee with him and talk about your financial needs. Also, thank you to Gail Moores over at Southern Gem for your jewelry needs. We all have jewelry needs, supposedly. My wife is telling me, yes, you have jewelry needs. And I'll let you know what they are. It's a dangerous place for women,
Right.
for men to go with the women, because I mean, this stuff is like, it's like walking in and see all this stuff. Like,
I want that. I want that.
Exactly. And so, but she has really good stuff. Southern Gym on the top of the Windmiller Building. Thank you to Michelle over at Hotworks with 11 different programs with the infrared system. And she does really good work. She's another great community citizen. And that's one thing I like about my sponsors. They're all community citizens.
Right.
So
It's
every one of them,
important.
it is. They sponsor this show not because they want to hear me rant, but because they want to support the community, and I
love that.
appreciate that. Yeah, thank you to Michelle. Thank you to Mandy over at Creative Concepts by Mandy for your promotional needs, pins, hats, cups, whatever. She got it. So give her a holler. Check out her webpage. Also to Otto, thank you very much for all you do with the community. I know that there's hardly a charitable event that he does not at least contribute something to. He's always good for that. Our Place, thank you, Otto. Thank you to Chris over at Cigar Bar. For those who can handle cigars, you see,
Sorry.
well, it's all right. No, it really is. It's a place you go in there and it's not like all this heavy smoke.
Good hangout spot, huh?
It is. Yeah. It's well ventilated. It's tall ceilings. And so it has the aroma, but not the dense smoke. And
Right.
so if
That's
you like
nice.
a lot of people like to smell. It really is a nice joint. And so Wild Cigar over at the Standard, and also Tiffany, I hope you're doing well. Don't get too stressed about the wedding. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful.
breaths.
Well, she's so not just energetic, but she's so detail oriented. That's why she does such a great magazine.
Ripples into her business.
Yeah, right.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, and she's like all the details about the wedding. I'm like, relax. It'll be great.
Yeah.
So anyway, so tell us what you want to know, Sarah.
I really want to leave everyone with a message of peace and hope. That's my big goal with Sara Nicole Yoga. My motto is to spread peace and positivity and the accepting love of Jesus Christ, even if it's a secular class that I'm teaching. And with Rise, it's about equipping people with the tools, and it's bringing hope that you can rise from your mental struggles. Whether you come to this conference that we're putting on, it's going to be really impactful, or whether it's it's not for you, that's fine. But I just want to leave everyone with the fact that there is hope, whether your mental illness comes back at you 10 years later and you're struggling, or if you feel like you're past it, or you're in these unfamiliar waters, there is still hope for you, and peace is going to come your way. And I believe if you put peace out, peace is going to come back to you. So whatever you believe and however you feel, I pray that you have peace and blessings in your day.
Well, I appreciate you coming here.
Thank you so much.
We're going to do this again in about 5 weeks, roughly.
Sounds perfect.
And we got a little bit ways to go, but it'll come up a lot quicker than you think.
It's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
You're ready,
I'm
huh?
so ready.
I know. And are you planning on making this like an annual or routine event?
I don't know. Possibly. I mean, there have been talks like, okay, next year we're going to do X, Y, Z. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Don't worry about it, guys. Come
Yeah.
on up.
Hi.
We're got some guests going upstairs. It's a part of the fun.
Yeah.
So just come on up. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And guys, thank you, Taylor, for being so quick on the computer. This is why he is
Awesome.
the wizard that
As
he
always.
is. All right. And we'll see you tomorrow on, I'll be talking about that Mar-a-Lago raid, which ought to be a lot of fun. And then I have Lisa Boltinghouse and Bianca Lowry from the Center for ASD on Thursday. So we'll see you then.